Hey, busy mom. Welcome back to Mommy Reboot TV. I'm your host, Jody Agard. So today's topic, we are talking about being Superwoman. I'm here to tell you, you are not Superwoman. So put down your little cape that you think that you're wearing. Here's the deal. We are moms who are juggling a million different things, right? We've got this and we've got that, and we've got kids and we've got dogs and we've got spouses and partners and friends and jobs and careers and businesses and all of this crazy stuff. And we try to do it all. With really good intentions, we try to do it all. But we just really have to realize that we can't do it all because we're not superwomen. I think there's this idea in society that we have to do it all, because asking for help is a sense of weakness and it's a sign of weakness, and all of this other crazy stuff that we tell ourselves, these stories, these misbeliefs, really. And here's the problem with this idea, thinking that we are superwomen, is that then we end up living in perpetual guilt. Perpetual guilt, any kind of guilt, is really toxic to our health. It's toxic to our mind, our body, and our spirit. And so we don't want to live with guilt. We want to feel accomplished. And the reason why we feel guilty, this overwhelming sense of guilt, is because we're setting ourselves up for these impossible standards that we're trying to meet. And we just can't possibly meet them. We can't, because we're not superwomen. So I just want to go over a couple little things. A couple things that you can stop doing, and then a couple things that you can actually start doing. So the first is to stop overcommitting. Stop overcommitting. That is one way that this superwoman idea shows up, is that we say yes to everybody, whether it's school, volunteering, or whether it's birthday party hosting, or whether it's helping out a friend, or doing the laundry when your husband offered, or fill in the blank. There's tons of things that we overcommit to. And the problem is that overcommitting then prevents us from doing the things that we actually love. So for instance, I was on a coaching call. I had a coaching call with a client the other day. And her deal was that she had been volunteering at her son's school for a couple days a week. It was like 2 to 3 times a week. And she was dreading it every single time. She couldn't stand it, but she felt obligated to do it because she had already signed up to do it and she felt bad not doing it. Here's the problem with that though. That robs you, or her, in particular my client, that was robbing her of her joy. Her joy lied in 1 time a week. When we finally really started to peel back the layers, she was joyful and she was happy to do 1 day a week. But that was it. The problem was she was overextending herself and she was overcommitting with her already full plate, and she was just saying yes to the things that she really didn't want to say yes to. That's just one way it shows up. Overcommitting shows up in so many other ways, but just pay attention, because here's the other deal, is that when you say no to certain things, you say yes to the things that you really love and that really light you up. So it opens doors. Okay, number 2 to stop doing, people pleasing. So number 1 and 2 kind of go hand in hand. People pleasing shows up in many, many ways. So taking my client, for instance, she felt bad. She committed to this volunteering at her son's school, and she was committed to it for a while, and she loved it at first, but then it became overwhelming. And the reason why she didn't want to say no or to, draw back her obligation a little bit was because she felt bad disappointing the teacher. And that's us. Like, that's just how we live sometimes. We just feel like, we don't want to disappoint people. We feel bad. Here's the deal, though. Disappointment is a part of self-care. So you just have to start really getting on board with being okay with disappointing people along the way in service of replenishing yourself. And that's ultimately what it does, is yes, you might be disappointing somebody, but at the same time, it's a part of life, and everybody gets disappointed, and you cannot live your life according to what other people's ideas they have for you. You just can't. Otherwise, you'll just be burnt out, and that's ultimately, at the end of the day, it's just not worth it. So a couple things to start doing. Number 1, start relishing in the imperfect life. So I think there's this idea amongst us moms that we want everything perfect. We want our kids to eat perfectly healthy. We want them to have the perfect amount of screen time and game time and friend time and all of this this stuff, and we're trying to live up to these expectations that really nobody can really meet. And there is no such thing as perfection. It doesn't exist. I started feeling so much relief once I started just embracing this idea of living an imperfect life. Here I am teaching you guys, and I'm an author of a best-selling book, and I'm speaking, and I'm coaching, and I'm doing all these great things. Here's a secret though, I'm not perfect, nor is my life. Sometimes it's a plain old shit show, and I've learned to embrace it. And that doesn't mean that I'm not striving to get from point A to point B. It means that I'm just simply saying, this is where I am right now, and I'm continuing to improve myself and our family dynamics and our family life. But it's not perfect right now, and that's okay. So that might mean that I leave a load of laundry unfolded because I need just to chill out for a few minutes. I just need to sit on the couch and hang out with my kids and just take a breather because I've had a really long day. However that is, however it shows up for you, embrace the idea of having an imperfect life and letting that be okay. Because nobody has. I don't care what social media tries to paint this picture of. Nobody has a perfect life. And don't buy into it if anybody tries to tell you, my life is perfect. No, they're not. It's not. They're lying. Number 2, ask for help. So that's another little thing amongst us moms, is that we're really bad about asking for help because we feel like it's a sign of weakness. And we feel like, we're not measuring up and we're not doing these things, and it's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of you being human. You cannot possibly do everything for everybody. You just can't. And you just have to start getting on board with asking for help more and delegating. And I will also preface this by saying, when you delegate and when you give a task to, whether it's your child or your spouse or your partner or your husband or your wife, you have to start embracing the idea that it's not going to be the way that you do it. That was a really hard one for me to swallow. So my kids are not going to load the dishwasher the same way that I load it. They're just not. And the more that I can just accept that and be okay with that, the better off everybody will be. Because the intention is to have help. It's not to have it done, number 2, perfectly, right? There's no such thing. As long as the dishes are in the dishwasher and they're not being melted on the bottom grate there, I'm happy. I don't care. There was a time, though, that would freak me out. And what I would do was I would go behind my kids to redo it all. And ultimately that sent the silent message that what you're doing is not good enough. And so it didn't make them want to do it anymore. Whether it's kids or husbands, that's just how it is. So you really have to be okay with the fact that when you do delegate, it's not going to be done exactly the way that you would do it. And so let that be okay. Number 3, last one. Make time to rest and recharge. So along the lines of feeling like we're superwomen, we feel like we constantly have to go, and do, and do everything for everybody, and constantly maintain this race, this hurry up and get there. And I'm here to tell you, honestly, that's what almost led me to burnout. It wasn't until I really started giving myself permission to have those little moments throughout the day, because let's face it, we don't have hours and hours upon end to be able to sit and recharge our mom batteries. We just don't. I'm a big believer that we have to sprinkle in those times throughout our day. So yes, there might be a load of dishes to be unloaded from the dishwasher. There might be 3 loads of laundry to do. There might be kids piles and homework and school stuff and shoes and all of the other stuff to do in a day or an evening. You might still have to make dinner. But if you're exhausted and you're feeling like, oh my God, I don't even want to do this and I am so exhausted, I just want this night to be over, then stop. Stop and sit on the couch and give yourself 5 to 10 minutes just to sit there and recharge your batteries, because that is an investment. What will happen is when you give yourself permission to have those tiny little moments, you're going to find that you have so much energy. That 5 to 10 minutes is huge in the big picture of a mom's daily life. Huge. And it might feel like, well, yeah, but I've got all these other tasks and the last thing I need to be doing right now is sitting down. That's bull. It actually is the most important thing you can do, because those tasks are still going to be there when you get up in 5 to 10 minutes. And that 5 to 10 minutes is not going to make or break the bank. Let's be honest. It's just not. It will be, though, an investment of your time. You will have the patience, you will be less reactive, and you will feel more energetic and happy and less stressed and probably less bitchy and less cranky and less snappy because you are coming from a place of feeling refreshed and rejuvenated, even if it's only temporary. So you might give yourself 5 to 10 minutes and then you might go into all those other evening tasks and then you might get tired again. And then it might be time to do the bedtime routine and the baths and the getting ready for bed. And then you push your way through it, and then you give yourself another little moment to rest and recharge and rejuvenate. Those things are those are the busy mom's lifelines, people. Letting go of this idea that you have to be Superwoman. Put down your cape, girl. There is no Superwoman around right now. That is not who you are. So stop pretending that you are Superwoman. And I will too. And you know what? It's constantly a practice. It's just really important just to be aware at least. Once you're aware, then you can be like, oh my God, I had the Superwoman cape on again. I need to take it off. Boop. And then you take it off. And then you give yourself permission to do all these things that I said. So as a recap, stop overcommitting and stop people pleasing. And then start relishing in the imperfect life and ask for help. Just learn how to delegate and understand that it's not going to be done exactly the way that you would do those tasks. And that is just something you have to be okay with. And then lastly, make sure that you're giving yourself the time to retreat and to recharge your crazy mom busy batteries. All right, mamas, I hope you have a wonderful day and I will see you here later.